Comedy. It was comedy. It was intentional. I don't know where I'm going to put that. It's going to be in the way either way. Right. So, eye contact. We've got to be careful. You can't even see my head. That's a lot of good, isn't it? We've got to be careful. You can look at the other camera if you like, the little one. We've got to be careful that we're marking at exactly the right time, because if we keep marking when the dog's just looking away from us, then that's what we're going to be reinforcing. So one thing is, remember, if you're playing with your food, that's where the dog's attention's going to be. Look at her face. Turn around this way so they can see you at least, because they can't see me. Okay, turn that way. Thank you. Oh, that way. Good, you get on camera. Good, stay there. What do you mean the chair's in the way? The chair is not in the way. Go that way. You don't want to stand near the chair. Come here, sit. Anything except near the chair. So, come here. Come here. Come here. Sit. But don't make me near the scary chair. Okay. So, you have to take it as read. But if I'm playing with my food here, can you see that where my food is where her attention's going to be? So if I want to try and catch her attention actually on me, the first thing I need, now look at that head position straight away. As soon as that food goes still or out of place, I can catch eye contact, yes, and then move to put my hand into my treat pouch or to move my hand out of its rest position. Okay, so that's the first thing. I want you to be really aware of what your hands are doing with regards to food. Yes. Then remember, we're not rushing to get to that food. Make sure your marker happens before you move. Okay, that you're not doing both at the same time. We're not saying it and doing it at the same time. We say it, yes, and then we do it. Does that make sense? Okay, once you've got them doing that, what I want you to do is hold your food out slightly, yes, so that they can see it. Okay, but we're going to mark, yes, eye contact. So the verbal marker has to be when the eyes are on you. Yes. Is that right? We can increase the difficulty by having the food out and having that hand moving. Yes, so now she has to make a choice to actively ignore that distraction, to place the eye contact on me. So you can see she goes, oh, that's hard, but I can do it. All right, so we need to get our dogs to that position where they can see food or that thing that they want, know it's there, and we wait. Yes. Does that make sense? So I want you to have a go at that. So start at the first stage, actually capturing the eye contact. All right, and then remember, mark at the right time, move that food after you've marked, and then when you think your dog's getting the idea, then make it a tiny bit harder so the hand is still with the food to begin with. And then when they're really good at that, you can start fiddling about with that food, messing about with that food. We want the dog to choose, look away from that moving hand with the food to the face. Okay, beautiful. So let's take it up a notch, because I think I've seen everybody get at least one looking away from the hand. So I think they're pretty good. So we'll move it up a bit. Always best to make it harder. Whoa. Okay, so this time, if you've got to the moving hand stage, what we're going to have is two hands, yeah, both moving. And she said, you mean this? So you can't see her from there, come here. She thinks I mean to do a different trick. Okay, so here's the moving food, yes. Yes. So you can see her make a very definite, I really am looking at you. And quite often, if they're really trying hard, you'll see them kind of clamp their jaw shut. They're really trying, they'll sort of put their face together, they'll clamp their jaw shut, they'll purse their lips. Like this. So let's see if I can get round so that you can actually see her. Turn around. She on camera, she just about is if I move sideways. So here's the bits of food. And she says, yes. Maybe finds this really hard. So maybe it's a different kind of personality. She's going to go with, yes. So that was for her. That was a really, really good one. She'll generally go with whatever it is that's moving. She's a very movement-orientated dog. So, okay, let's have a look. So have a bash, see if you can work them up to you being able to do silly dances and things with the food on view. And then choose eyes instead of anything else. Remember, it's you and your marker, and when you give your marker, is the thing that really gets this behavior to grow. See, I don't believe that Poppy's a problem outside, because she's always an angel on telly. It might just be with her, you know, that you need to start back at scratch. Move these beautifully trained behaviours into the garden first, and then into really, really quiet environments. Don't try and practice in the hard environments. Build up. Because if she can do it at home, she will eventually be able to do it out in the world. Beautiful. All right. So we've got this idea that if the dog's not looking at us, we don't know that they're definitely giving us attention. Then if we ask them for something, we don't even know if they've heard us. So how do we know that they're going to be able to respond? You can see her ears. Okay, so the next thing then is when we've taught our dogs to pay attention to us, we've taught them to pay attention to us in front of us, haven't we? So the dog's doing what we want them to do. The problem with that, though, is, I'll just move that a bit. The problem with that is that while we're trying to walk them, your dog might be trying to come in front of you to get your attention or to control your movement because they're worried about something or whatever. And that's going to make it hard for you both to get along with your walk. So if I move my body, she wants to swing back round to the front of me, doesn't she? That's where she feels comfortable because that's where she's been taught. And maybe it's going to do the same. So we need to actively teach them that at the side of us is the right place to be. So we just get rid of one. You can go on there. Stay there. Stay down. So that's when we were doing this little game last week. Find out where your dog's head position and your arm position need to be to reinforce the right position. Okay, so we're going to make sure they're a little bit stretchy. Turn that way so they can see. So the toes are coming a little bit up and off the floor, and that the head is in line with our hip. So it's back here rather than down here or all the way back here. It's on your midline. Yeah, and we're going to practice finding that position standing still to begin with. So we're going to take it on another step. So let's see you find that position. Make sure that you have practiced so that in your own mind, you know without thinking where your hand needs to go to give that reward. Because once we start moving you, you're going to find it hard to get back to that position. So I want it really in your brain where your hand needs to go to give that reward. Now, I know it's annoying with the jumping up and the clawing and whatever, but try and ignore all of that for now because they won't do it so much once we get them moving.
If you
find it.
Sorry,
darling.
We're still on the trying to move the hand because she's just barking at me constantly. So we're having to go back to when she just looks, marking that. So we're not as far on as everybody else.
All right, so you can do this bit as a separate exercise though. So she is allowed to have food in your hand. You are allowed to lure them into that position, but you're going to release the food when the dog's in exactly the right position. Yeah, so you can use the video, so you can check your own position, or you could set up your own video camera when you're not on Zoom, so you can check your position, or you can use a mirror. The other thing you can obviously do is use a side dresser or a wall or something so that you can get the dog's body straight, right in the right position. So that we're getting that head straight up. We don't really want the head to come round the side of us. We want, because that's uncomfortable for the dog. You know, if the dog learns to walk like this, they've got to look how uncomfortable her front legs are if I do that. Yeah, so I want her head back here and straight so that she's not stretching her neck round into a weird shape. So as with any muscle memory game where you're trying to get a perfect position, you need to practice enough, but not too much, because little tiny movements frequently can cause damage. Yeah. So do maximum of 10 in a row when you're doing it standing still. Really, it's about us learning where to put that food to get the perfect position. We want them a little bit stretchy than they're going to be, so the head a little bit higher than they're going to be in real life. So we want them sort of tiptoeing and nose pointing straight up to begin with, really stretchy. But we're not, obviously, when we start doing the next bit, we're not going to expect them to maintain that position. Now, someone did say, I want my dog to learn how to do the flicky feet thing. Well, teaching them holding that head position really high up there, that does actually cause them to start doing that when they're moving forward. So that's the way to get it. Go down. Okay, so go down. Right, so the next thing is we're going to do a little bit of movement, but we're going to drop the criteria on position. We're just going, so we don't need that perfect position. What we're going to say to ourselves is, when you're at the side of me, I will reward you. Now I'm going to take a movement. If you stick at the side of me, then I will reward you. But I want your hand position to go to where you were rewarding when you were practicing that position. Don't worry too much about the dog position. So we reward there. We're going to move. If she manages to stick, We're going to move, reward, move. Yeah, so it's one step, and the dog brings themselves back into that position. If they come in wonky, sideways onto you, just move again. Yeah? Don't give a reward, just move again. All right? So it's one step, reward, one step, reward, one step, reward. And all we're looking for is, are they facing in the same direction as us? And we're practicing making sure we give that reward in the right position. We're not worrying too much at the moment about what their body looks like. It's just that their nose has to come back into the right place to get that reward. If they don't offer to come into the side of you, if they keep swinging back round, take a step forward. Sid looks good for me at that stage. Woofing, but looks good. Leanne's showing off. All right, so you, rather than take her back behind you, Judith, I want you to just take a step. Oh, she's very limpy. Okay, I wouldn't do any more. Just, that's a sore, it looks like a knee or a groin. Is her knee swollen at all? No, on Judith, is Tilly's knee swollen at all?
No, no, I can't feel any swelling at all.
Now, just take a step away for me again, because I just saw something. Just move away so she moves away from the camera. Keep going. Yeah. So it's intermittent. So she might have what they call a luxating patella. So that means that the little tiny bone that lives in the ligament at the front of the knee can sometimes slide sideways. So it stops the knee from bending properly. Yeah. So I think I would, if you're going to take her to the vet, I would definitely take a video. And if you want me to clip the bit I've just seen, if you can't get a decent video, then I could take a clip of that bit.
Yes, please.
Okay, so we're aiming at the dog finding the right position. Is this the aim of this game? The dog comes into the right position. So I don't want you to get into the habit of removing them. I don't want you to get into that habit of swinging your arm around. Yeah, that's not what this game is about. This game is about the dog brings themselves into that position and then gets reinforced. If they miss it, if they don't get the right position, they don't get the reinforcement. There's no grumpiness about it. So if I turn myself in and she finds it, that's beautiful, and I'll step again and she finds it, and I step again and she finds it, and I step again and she fails. That's fine. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong camera view. She was actually in the right place. Okay. So the aim is the dog moves themselves into the position. Remember, if a dog or anybody learns something for themselves without being coaxed or lured or sort of molded into the position you want them, if they find it themselves and they learn it themselves, they learn it much more strongly. All right. Does that make sense? Do you see the difference? All right. So the next game we're going to play is called 300 Pecks, and it's adapted from the guy who did all those experiments on pigeon pecking. We're going to go to the expert here. Which one was that? Our Sammy, who's recently been learning. Do you know which scientist it is that put pigeons in boxes? Hang on, go and unmute yourself so that I can hear what you're saying.
Wasn't Ian Dunbar, was it?
No.
No.
So have you heard of Skinner? Okay, so you need to go and learn some stuff. Off the top. All right, so anyway, we set a definite criteria of how the animal gets the reward. We've set the criteria already. They need to be standing next to us, yeah, or moving next to us in order to get that mark and reward. So we make it dead simple. So Skinner used to put rats in boxes, and in order to get a piece of food, the rat had to pull a lever. They had to push a lever down. And if they pushed the lever down, food would be delivered. There was no emotional content. Yeah, this is very much behaviorism, very much behavioral training. So you set your criteria, and your first criteria is going to be what we just had it at. Find the right place next to me. We're not worrying at the moment about whether or not their bum's straight. We're just making sure that they and us are walking on a similar plane next to each other. And what we're going to do is we're going to slowly increase the distance that they have to maintain that current criteria. All right. So they call it 300 pecks because these pigeons, some of them in these Skinner boxes, had to peck a little light to get food, and they would make it harder and harder, the number of pecks that they had to do in order to get that food to be delivered. Okay, so we have to just move the old girl. Can you move there? Down. Stay there. Okay, you come this side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to move me, she doesn't know. So I'm going to go 1 step mark, yeah? So I'm talking, so I can't mark, so I'll shut up. 1, 2, yes. 1, 2, 3, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. Okay, so what happens if your dog loses contact when you've increased to a certain number of steps? What if they start saying, oh, you know, that's too hard, or you're asking for it in too difficult of an environment? That's fine. What we do is we reset and we go straight back to 1 step. Okay, so the first time they fail, we go right back to 1 step. Does that sound madness? It really, really works though. So 1 step, yes. 1, 2, yes. All right, so it's a bit hard doing it in a little space, but I'm sure you'll manage. Give it a go. Except Tilly. Tilly's not allowed to work. She's on rest. So if you move yourself into position, or you can lower them for the first time into position, and then you're going to take your 1 step, mark, reward, 2 steps, mark, reward, and slowly increase. Awkward in these little spaces, I do understand. Sammy's just sent a message to me saying, I do know that. It goes out of your head, it goes out of my head all the time. And do you know, Skinner didn't even design the bloody boxes. He just took that idea, stole it from someone else. Thorndike. I'll get it for you, it's Thorndike. Thorndike designed the boxes and the idea. Thorndike was cats, but the same idea was used with chickens, you're not wrong. Okay, so with somebody like Poppy, what you're going to find is you're going to keep going back to that one peck. But the benefit of that is that your dog is maintaining a high rate of reinforcement in a difficult environment. Yeah, so we know it feels like you're not maybe getting anywhere for quite a long time, but eventually it starts working. Eventually it becomes that it is working well. All right. So all we've got then, we've got maintaining or getting eye contact, getting position. So your criteria on position, you can start to tighten up. You can start to use your work surfaces or your walls and things to get them to push their body against you while they're walking in position. We teach them how to move with us. What I want you to be aware of here is just how difficult it is for a dog to move with you when you turn into them. I'm going to show you with Twiggy. Okay. So be aware how hard this is. And if you're trying to make this happen in the real world, your dog's probably going to be getting upset with you. Good girl. Can you go on there? Good. Okay. Right, you come this side for me. So, if I'm going, go backwards. Go backwards, girl. Stay there. If I'm going forwards, and I need to turn, and I turn this way, that's nice and easy for her, isn't it? That makes sense. But if I'm going this way and I try to turn that way, look what happens. Where's her back end? Does she even understand? No, she doesn't understand. Yeah? So I would have to do some weird fancy malarkey like that to try and get her to turn around, which when you've got a lead on, that's going to be really hard. So what we're going to do is we're going to get them to understand to move their back end in relation to us. So it's a combination of that first game we had where we were teaching them be side on to us. Yes. Yes. So I'm moving in, but I'm only moving in a tiny amount. And this time, my focus, my criteria is on move your back end. So I'm looking to see, does their back end move? Yes. So she's there, and I'm moving in and around her. Does her back? Yes. I'm marking and rewarding back end movement. So again, camera or a mirror. Yes. And it's only going to be a little move to begin with. So the aim is you keep your position about the same. Yes. So we're not moving. I'm not moving my feet very much. If you're not sure, put yourself a piece of paper or something on the floor. I'm not sure I've got enough room to move her back end. Yeah, so we'll see. She's getting close to maybe if she's there. Yeah, hello. Yeah, it does look like you're involved, doesn't it? So I'm moving. I'm keeping my hand in the same position, and I'm twisting round on the box. And it's not going to be until I see that back end side step that I'm actually going to mark her. And she says, I can't do that. So we'll go back around here. And we're going to go like this. Yes. All right. So it's a little bit awkward. There is a really nice game, though. A really fun game that we can play to try and explain that to the dog. And it goes like this. You've got your dog here. Take that head all the way out and behind you. Okay, so bring her back to that front position. Maybe says, I can do this. You can't do it anymore. Your back end doesn't move that way. Take your hand out and pull it back towards you. So it's going from here. I'm pulling it away and then I'm pushing back. It's going to get that back end moving. Pull it away and push it back. All right. Now, if I go like that, look what happens to that back end that wasn't moving very well before. You see the difference? But now if I move in towards her, lots of back end movement. Does that make sense? Does everyone want to have a go except for Tilly, who's on band? Let's get on gallery. So the aim is to keep your hand as close to you as you can, but turn that head away so that it starts to move the back end. So you're kind of pulling their head round and then you're pushing their head away. So it kind of goes from here, pulls their nose round and then pushes their nose, but it stays quite close to you. So here's your dog's nose, pull that nose out and then push that nose behind you. So from here, take the nose out, push it behind you, that way. So we're going to go from here, out, that's it, come in, push, yeah, so the back end, she says, you ain't got food in there, mother. So we're going to go that way. And she says, I do a twist. The aim is to get that, it's almost like a twist actually, but we're not taking them so far away from us with that twist. We want that twist to happen right next to us, so they're going behind us. Does that make sense? Show you on the other side. So, here she is, side on approximately. Not really, come here. I'm going to take that head out, but I'm going to push, I'm pushing her nose to get back end movement. This is straight, turn it and push. Yeah? How are we doing? How's Poppy? So start in your first position. It's a bit like learning ballet when I was a child. Think of your positions. That's it, nicely, Anne. Well done. So if you've got, Maria, I can see what you can do that will help, because I've just spotted that you're having an issue with that. Get yourself a wall. No, you're going to have to take a break because maybe you want to go. Can you sit? Wait there. Get yourself a wall. That is mine, you monkey. Get yourself a wall and do it with that wall next to you. And depending on how you position yourself, you could start with their head slightly forward, so that when you push them back, they have to go along the wall a little bit. She's very bitey. She's an old toad. Go on, lay down. Lay down. So Twiggy's easier for me because maybe gets excited and then she just gets all silly and bitey. So if I'm in this position, right near a wall, and she's got a bum towards the wall, and I take her head out, there's nowhere for her body to go except along that wall, so she can't swing her back end out of the way. So we could you could almost do it in the same exercise when you're stretching their head up between your legs. You can sneak your hand out so it goes along the wall. Sid's doing well. I saw that. Nice bit of back end movement there, Maria. So remember, twist that head out. Easier said than done. It's all right, you're getting there. I saw one really nice one. That's it, nice. Okay, so if you face a little bit further, let's have a look. At the minute, you're straight on with the cupboards, and she's straight on with the cupboards. Turn your body about 45 degrees and start with her straight to your body there. That gives you a tiny bit of hand movement, so you can turn that head out and then start pushing them back. But it means that because they back into the cupboard, that will tend to make them want, yes, just like that. It will tend to make them want to move that back end away from the cupboard because they've got that sensation. Nice, Sid. We've got it. We're starting to get it. Okay. So once the dogs started to be able to move their back end, then we can start to be conscious of our feet and what our feet are doing. And that's when it all gets really technical and horrible. I hated this bit when I was doing obedience, when I was first learning it. I'm going to put Maggie out the way. She's getting more and more frantic. She go that way. Okay. So you've got your dog in this position, going straight forward, or in this position-ish. It'll be a bit fancier when you've trained it. Yeah, going forward with you. And we want to be able to move our body into them and have them swing their body out against us. She's just done that one fairly perfectly, except the bed was in the way. Okay, so we're going to do a half turn. We're not moving all of our feet. I want you to be able to see that bit. So what I'm doing is I'm moving one foot from there to there. So my heels are staying in the same place-ish. Yeah? So that's going to take her from this position. At the same time as I'm moving that foot, you have to take my word for it because I can't turn her there because of them beds. At the same time as I'm moving that foot, I'm starting to bring that hand round. So my body starts to turn. Yeah? Once I get to here, turn my feet again. Once I get to here and the dog's behind me, this leg is going to join. So now I've moved, I'm facing 90 degrees from where I started. Yeah? So 1, 2, and then you would 1, 2 if you wanted to go the other direction. So if the guy in the obedience ring called out and about turn, you'd have 4 foot movements to do whilst organising your dog. So it's all good fun, which is why I don't do it anymore. So don't worry about it too much, but be aware that if we move all of our feet and our body into the dog's space when they're already feeling uncomfortable about us turning into them in the first place, and they're not sure how to move their back end because we haven't told them that yet, all of that can be so difficult for them that what they will want to then do is get away from us, want to increase their distance away from us. So for now, if you feel like you need to turn with your dog, I want you to always think, turn the easy way. So the easy way for your dog is always going to be, whichever side they're on, turn yourself away from them. Does that make sense? Not into them. As soon as you start turning into them, it all gets awkward and they want to get themselves away from you. Until we've taught them, turn around behind me. Swing that bum, thank you. There's a game. We'll do that game. I'm going to get you to do that one, but not Tilly. I'll just show you that one because I haven't actually done that one with her for ages. Got treats in both hands. There we go. Going to lead her in front to the side like that, taking the head all the way out and behind me. I'm going to pick her up with this hand and I'm going to back her up until she's back in the same position. So here's that hand out. So she twists behind me, pick her up with the other hand, back her up until she's back where she was. And that's just a really cute little game to help your dog to get that back end moving. Does that make sense to everybody? See, I don't feel right without Tilly working, but I don't want you to. It just doesn't feel right. She's usually our star, isn't she? Go on, Poppy, do it. Show us.
Having a break, having a chill.
We ought to get Sammy to do it with Orty. Look at her face. It's not as hard as it looks, you know. You're making it more complicated than it is. So you know when we were doing our turn just now, turning into the left, the most important thing is you've got your dog here by your side, hand out, turn, push, collect, and we're pushing the dog's nose. Yeah, so you've got food in your hand, the dog's got a good reason to want to stay with that hand. Come here. So we're going to go out, yeah? And my hand is right behind me here. I'm going to pick her up, I'm going to pull that nose back out and bring her all the way back. So it goes out, and if I go the wrong angle, when I pull her nose out, she hasn't got enough room to swing her back end, okay? So here we go, I'm going to bring that all the way out here, and getting that back end swinging in. It's where you put your hand and how you move those food treats that matters. And what that's building up is hind end awareness, the ability to move that back end. Go, 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 you nearly there, Jill. Just have to get standing back up again was the thing. And remember what she's kind of falling over on whatever it is that's behind you. So that's putting her off. That's putting her off swinging her back end round. So head all the way, yes. Okay, so nearly. So she wanted to stand up then, to sit, sorry. But she did swing her back end to begin with, so that's already an improvement. Nice. All right. She says, I'm gone crazy mode. That's why I kicked Maybe out. She's gone crazy mode. Dodo loves this one. It's his favourite game. Twiggy's a bit hard to manoeuvre because she's so long and my arms are relatively short in comparison. All right, so let's unmute you, let you say goodbye or ask questions or whatever you like.
Really nice watching everybody else for a change.
As you can see, my pussycat
really
wants to
well.
join in.
What's for dinner, Maria?
Pardon?
What's for dinner? It's in the fridge.
It's Guinness, was it? Guinness? The Guinness hot pot thing.
Oh, ooh,
Stewing steak and Guinness and carrots and onions.
very nice.
Yummy.
It's ready. Ready to go.
It's ready.
Are we training the cat now?
Yes. Yes, he likes to join. This was the pussycat that was really poorly just at New Year.
Oh, was
Thought we were
it?
going to lose him. He was, a week. Well, 5 days. Just all he did was sleep.
Oh,
He's,
did they find out what was
he's
wrong?
13. We think it was vestibular disease, which we've had 3 dogs with it that have had it. and
Is
he
that
was
the-
reacting exactly the same.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
but he's okay now. He's a bit funny sometimes, but he likes lots of cuddles now. So,
Bless him.
and he loves Mrs. Treats. So he loves her meat that we use for
Yeah.
training. So he's that's why he's been around us all the time.
Oh, don't blame him.
So, Andrea, just a week now then.
Oh, God. I've forgotten about it. Yeah.
No, you
Pick
can't
him up
forget
on-
about it.
Saturday.
Oh, so exciting.
He'll make an appearance on the camera next week, hopefully. Just to say hello.
Can't wait.
Mm, yeah. She's ready to let them all go now. They're all a pain in the arse.
Goes so quickly though, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
But mum's had enough. She'll go in for half an hour to give him a quick feed, then she's out of there, and she'll only go back in a few hours later. She's not interested now. So she's, hello, Leanne. Yeah, she's had enough. But I've took the crate there last week and left it there, and all of the puppies are climbing in and out of it and going to sleep in it
Oh.
and things like that. So that's hopefully going to be a really good transition.
Oh, well done.
Well, it's a new thing. We've never tried to do this before. I've crate trained Sid, but she's had enough since lockdown. Forget it, I'm not going back in there. But this one's a little soft crate. So he's going in and out of it and sleeping in it and doing that. So hopefully it'll be an easy transition. Ugh.
Yeah, we've got a soft crate when we go away.
Hmm.
Well, if you can remember back that far. And she's quite happy to get in that at bedtime, and
Yeah.
no matter where we are then.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's what he's going to be like, because when we have him home, he's going to sleep down the side of my side of the bed. It's the toileting. We're sort of, what do we do about toileting? Because they can't last from me picking him up out the side of my bed to getting him outside. He just can't last that long. So I think we're going to have paper down and then transition it gradually towards the back door eventually, I think. Hopefully.
We put a pee pad
Yeah,
in half the cage,
yeah.
so that when she was tiny, but it wasn't very many weeks before she didn't even need it. So
Yeah.
I really like to use
Ready?
You what, Julie?
Sorry.
this here so you can hear me. Using the substrate that you're using in real life.
I missed that, sorry.
Can't do it.
So what did you say?
Let's try it this way. Just bear with me.
Oh, so feedback then. Yeah.
hello.
Okay. Is that any better? I've
Yeah.
switched one camera off.
Yeah,
It's all very good when you're wanting to do demos. If you can have a cat's litter tray or something maybe a little bit bigger than a cat's litter tray, and fill it with what you're put to go on once it's
right.
going out. So take a bit of your garden. So if you've got stones in the garden, you bring stones in. If you've got grass, you buy yourself some rolls of grass, real grass. If you've got soil that you want them to go on, you get a pile of soil from the garden. So that, because where they learn as tiny puppies is where they're going to prefer to go. The
Yeah.
rest of, absolutely, you've got to keep yourself clean. So the rest of the crate space, then you do have some kind of plastic covering or something that's going to protect your underlying floor. But you make this place already, it's got its own scent. It's already
Yeah.
attractive. Yeah. If he does a pee anywhere else, other than in that toilet space, soak it up, put it into that toilet space.
Right.
So you've already got his own scent. And what that's going to do, that's like taking a toilet sign and sticking it above a toilet door so that he
Okay.
knows that it is a toilet.
Yeah.
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 If they've been allowed to follow mum, if they've been allowed to practice following mum to go out, and it depends on the breeder, then it's worth getting some of mum's wee. I know it's a bit gross. Get the old owner to freeze it for you, put it in a container, keep a little bit, take mum's wee and put it onto your toilet space. I know it's gross.
No, she doesn't go outside.
It's
She,
gross, but it really, really works.
they are
There's
sort of
already
paper
that scent,
trained.
that familiar scent.
They're going on newspaper at the moment.
Can't hear you now.
Oh,
I know why. Hang on, because I haven't turned this speaker up. Go on, try again.
no, they are all going on newspaper at the minute. They haven't been allowed outside because it's just too unsafe. So they are sort of partially toilet paper trained.
Okay. So I would line your toilet area with paper, but then
Yeah.
I'd start introducing the other substrate on top of it.
Yeah,
So you're swapping scent patterns.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
I might be a bit
Because
haggard.
can you imagine from the puppy's point of view, it's a big step if they've
Yeah.
learned to look for newspaper to go for a wee on, and then somebody keeps dropping them outside and saying to do the wee there, and they're like, but there's no newspaper.
Yeah,
I don't get it. You know, because newspaper's got a very specific scent all of its own.
yes. Well, I'm not going to be looking this fresh next week. Like, oh dear God. Never mind. It'll be what it'll be.
It's good.
Well, Harry's got the next 2 weeks off, so he's going to be able to stay a week with the pup, and then I'm having a week off. So for the first 2 weeks, there'll be somebody here with him all the time.
So you can, I've just done a course that has a 7-day survival guide for the first 7 days that you live with your puppy. And I haven't actually made proper notes, but I think what I could do is have another look and see. I did have it next to me. So some really good ideas. It was from Joe, Rosie and Nando
All right.
about the first 7 days and what you needed to do. This is my pad of things that haven't actually been written up yet. I'm not sure where I did it. I think it was only a couple of hours lecture, so I might be able to fit in again, making you some proper notes with regards to.
Oh, that would be amazing.
It's all about helping the pup to feel safe and secure, and settled, and start to introduce them to the idea of spending time alone. So that because if you spend that first time off,
Yeah.
cuddling them, you know, that's not going to do them any good when you.
Oh no. It's really the first week or two is to sort of solidify the crate training. So we're not just going to put him in it and go off to work. We're just going to introduce it and do little periods of time when he's asleep, put him in and go out and things like that. So we'll see how he gets on with that. Sid took to it really well, but I was at home a bit more then.
I think when I use the crate, I use it with a confinement area. I don't just have the crate.
Right.
So in this space, and this is where Dodo's was most recently, in my office space. Show you what it looked like with a quick drawing. So, it's not perfect, but so we've got the square, which is my office, and my office door that you can see behind me,
Yeah.
and my desk that comes all the way around the outside, and the shelves that get in the way. So his sort of confinement space, so in other words, fenced off area, was that much of the room.
Yeah.
Then in that one corner was his crate, okay, which
Yeah.
had its door open all of the time except at night. And then in that space in the opposite corner, away from the bed as far as you can get it, is the toilet area.
Yeah.
And then you can have toys, but you don't want the toys to be dragged into the toilet area. So what you do is you secure them so that you fasten them to the fence so that they can
Right.
take them into the crate area to chew, or they can move them around and play with them in the open space, but they can't get them into the loo and drag
Yeah.
whatever out with them. And your
Brilliant.
water needs to be all the way over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and obviously inside the crate, you make the most comfortable space to lay so that they're attracted to go back to there anyway. So you've essentially made it into 3 zones. You've made it into a sleeping zone, a toileting zone, and a playing zone. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So securing your toys, you can't use anything that they can. It has to be things like washing line, you know, the really hard. So it's got to be really strong so that if
Yeah.
they do it, they can't swallow it.
We'll give it all a go. Oh my God. Right. Better go. We've got to get ready to go and see him.
Photos.
Yes. Okay.
We want photos.
Thank you very much for a good class.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Later.
Yeah.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Hope she's better.
Oh, I think thank you, but I think it's going to be a long job.
Oh,
So,
bless her.
yeah. So,
Well, sometimes all of a sudden they just turn around and it's mended.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Usually the day you've been to the vets.
Yeah.
Or just going.
Yeah.
Or waiting in the
She's not
car,
doing
and
it
all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. See
Cheerio,
you all next
everyone.
week.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.